And it came to pass that I looked upon this scene, being filled with desire, and I beheld the tablet with clarity, and I was amazed that it was so much like the one we had. And the Lord knew the desires of my heart, and he began to speak to me, and he pointed to the tablet as he spoke. And he spoke each one of the 10 guidances to me, one at a time. And as it is so often with Urim, the truth explodes in your heart and mind. And it was difficult not to be distracted into the deep of meaning with each one. Accordingly, I spoke each one to the scribes, as he said them to me. But I could not say all that was before me with each one, because it was too vast. And the Lord said, "You are to love Anukised with all your heart, and with all your mind, and with all your power." First commandment. And when I wondered what he meant by the word power, and he answered and said, "That your power comes from all of your holy relationships with the spirits of life in that which is holy in creation. And the implications of this are staggering in the immensity of the scope of it. But let me say, it means to have the kind of relationship with element that expresses always and only the loving kindness of Anukised with your fellows, and that love is unconditional, never varying away from his gracious nature. And many things raced through my mind that the Lord had taught during his walk upon the earth. And again the Lord pointed, and he said, "You are to always walk in the holiness of the sanctity of marriage, and to anticipate it from your childhood." Second commandment. And again, great truths swept through my mind, and he said the word anticipate means for you to be pure in heart and chaste from your childhood, waiting for your rightful spouse, and saving yourself solely for them and from all others. And I recalled the marriage counsel which the Lord had brought to Enoch, which says that children should be taught from their childhood to have a deep expectation that they will be romantically attractive and completely loved by the spouse which Anukised has created for them as a man and a woman standing together before him. And the Lord said, "You are to follow no other example in religion but the loving kindness of Anukised, and that which was established by the righteous with him during the first great sevening." And I immediately knew that this would exclude any use of religion for gain, or to exert control over your fellows, or to use religion to bring assurances to yourself of a future that satisfied your desires for a place of good standing without the need to walk in repentance and humility and holiness with perfect virtue. And again the Lord said, "Each person is to love their fellow and deem them equal to themselves." Fourth commandment. And the marvelous wisdom of this simple statement spoke loudly to my soul, and it would start with a person not classifying themselves or stigmatizing themselves as rich or poor, intelligent or ignorant, beautiful or ugly, nor important or unimportant. And if they did not classify themselves, they would not classify others, and could truly see their fellow, no matter who they are, as equal to themselves. And the Lord said, "You are to respect and love your children, and protect them from evil, and diligently teach them the ways of holiness." Fifth commandment. And upon hearing this, it was immediately made known to me that when a parent follows this guidance, children would not have to be told to honor their father and mother, and children who have always known only respect and love can more easily respect and love their gift of life from Anukised, and grow to be wise during their passages. And they will love their elders, and they will be loved as elders in their old age. And the Lord said, "You are to purify yourselves by sevens in all things." sixth commandment. And when I heard this, I knew that this was the basis for keeping the Sabbath day, and it was that which Shabuah was founded upon, and the weeks of the holy days, and the years of jubilees, and many such important observances. And I knew that Anukised himself used this guidance in the acts of creation by his son Matzadalam, when the world was created and Olam was transformed into Eden, and again when the natural world of Eden was transformed into our temporal world during the first 7 generations of mankind. And the Lord said again, you are to respect the Creator, Matzah the Lamb, who is himself the living water that issues forth to follow each person that finds breath, and not lay claim to that which he has made for other persons. Seventh commandment. And my eyes were opened to know that this has far reaching meaning in our lives, and we should be happily attached to the circumstances of our lives, and we should be content with our positions and not desire to have what others may have acquired, and we are not to view our worth in terms of the satisfaction of positions, nor should we allow ourselves to be controlled by longings for acceptance and high esteem and the ease of pleasures and comforts. And I felt the Spirit say that we should view as our possessions only that which Anokised has given to us to be ours. And I could tell how compatible having all things common was to this guidance. And the Lord continued speaking, and he said, you are to respect all life and guard with diligence all the lives of those who are the objects of creation. The eighth commandment. And of course, all human beings, whether they be friend or foe, holy or evil, powerful or weak, are in fact all the objects of creation, simply by being created as the children of Anukised. And I know this means all human life, even to include one's enemies. And it prohibits participating in war in any way, and it also prohibits infanticide of the unborn and using death as punishment. And continuing, the Lord said, you are to seek no other authority than the authority of Elda, which brings a response from the Erkadoshi, who are the holy watchers of heaven. Ninth commandment. And with clarity, I understood that this means we are not to pursue obtaining authority from the world by license or certification or appointment to position, and we are not to approach in any way obtaining authority by effective subtleties over any person or creature. And lastly, the Lord said, you are to bear up under the burden of oppression without violence. The tenth commandment. And I know that oppression takes on many forms, all the way from the imposition of impure moral values to being occupied by violent forces of the armies of nations, and that under these circumstances, loving enemies, praying for those who despitefully use you, and not resisting evil but turning the other cheek, and blessing those who curse you, and doing good to them that hate you, are acts that reflect the very heart of Anukised. And the Lord said to me, I caused Enoch to write the 10 guidances, to preserve the 7 joinings of Masoseel, and the guidances undergird them, unabated through the ages. And it came to pass that upon receiving these 10 guidances for happy living, that I began to ponder how this delightful and holy advice from our loving Father Anukised was altered to become the 10 Commandments. And as I thought upon this new development, the Lord began to open it up to me by the Urim and by magnifying His Spirit in me, and I began to know and understand the pathway His gentle guidances have taken among the families of the earth. And this matter began to be very instructive to me, albeit sad. And I saw that after Enoch made the tablet and he began to teach with it, the 10 guidances for happy living were spread abroad among all of the people in Nod, who remained with their old parents, and all the people in the regions of Main began to use them in all their daily lives. and they certainly all knew that it brought rich happiness for Anuki said indeed, and starting in about the eighth generation, the guidance tablet began to influence those who learned of it, in so much that parents began to be able to clearly identify to their children the importance of their decisions in the passages of life, and great care was taken in their important decisions for the sake of Anukised, and with younger children, parents could begin at an early age to teach the importance of chastity and of loving and kind behavior toward God and man. And by these things, virtue abounded in their lives as they grew into adulthood, and happiness in the people flourished.